Hello, welcome back to this mini-series of the latest launches from Guerlain, and today we are taking a look at the latest fragrances in the Aqua Allegoria line. We are talking about Yuzu, or what is it? Oud Yuzu. This is Rosa Palissandro, and this is Bosca Vanilla. Now I have to mention that for these fragrances they only made Forte versions because I think they are trying to really push this, they started making Forte versions for all the Aqua Allegorias, and I don't think it's all of them, but most of them now have a Forte version as well. There's also the Harvest versions, which maybe it'll come for all three fragrances, but alas, these three do not have a regular version in the Aqua Allegoria line. But I don't think this is a bad thing at all. First, I have to tell you that I already know how these fragrances smell because I had the chance to smell them, I think 2 weeks ago, in a Sephora, in a perfume store. It was just there, they were there, and I couldn't help myself. I had to smell them because I was very, very curious, and the fragrance I was most curious about was this Oud Yuzu, or Yuzu Oud, or whatever it's called, because I love the note of yuzu. And I think it's a very interesting combination, you know, I mean, why not? And it's an oud fragrance, so why not? I was very curious about that one. I wasn't curious at all about the other two. I don't want to spoil anything, but I already have a favorite. So let's take them one by one. Let's start with Oud Yuzu Yud. Let's start with this one. Did I get you? Okay, so Yuzu is very, very similar to it's a, it's a citrus. I'm trying to think if you have this word in English, but it's a type of citrus that's very similar to a sort of a grapefruit smell that's sweeter and a bit, a bit more delicate than grapefruit, but it is citrusy and quite similar to yuzu, to grapefruit, sorry. So this Oud Yuzu Forte opens exactly like another Aqua Allegoria, which is Pamplemousse, I think. And it is quite similar to that. It is a very, very simple fragrance. Very, very simple. And it is exactly... Yes, I wanted to bring up Pamplemousse. Because the notes for Pamplemousse are grapefruit and bergamot. It's not yuzu, right? And that one was done by Jean-Paul Guerlain and Mathilde Laurent, and I think it's still available, and it is gorgeous. If you don't know Aqua Allegoria Pamplemousse, give it a try. It is stunning. Now Oud Yuzu, as I said, it is very similar, and when I smelled it for the first time, I was very unimpressed. Because, I mean, first of all, because it's too similar to Pamplemousse, which is already there, and I think it's more interesting than this opening. Secondly, because it's too hyper-realistic for my taste. I wanted maybe something a bit more perfumey. This is just citrus. I mean, it's grapefruity, it's yuzu. However, as the fragrance develops, it does, and this won't happen now and here and on this piece of paper, that's for sure, but I did wear all of them on the skin. As this fragrance develops, something, well, I don't want to say interesting because it's not that interesting, but something a bit darker and woodier and very, very similar to most of the dry downs from Les Absolus d'Orient, which is not oud. It's not oud because they don't use oud there in Les Absolus d'Orient, even in Oud Essential, right? There's no oud in there as far as I know. And it is very similar in its drier stages, very, very similar to the dry stages of the latest from Les Absolus d'Orient, which is Épice Exquise, which I think cites oud in there. Might be true, might not be true. It doesn't really matter, but it's that same dry, spicy, woody type of smell that's nevertheless interesting. And in this combination with yuzu in the opening, it's quite a journey. It's quite nice, quite refreshing. It is still a fresh scent, and it is still worthy of the Aqua Allegoria line and name. So I quite like it. I don't know if I would purchase it, not necessarily, because I don't think, I mean, if you're looking for a citrus refreshing scent, summery, why not? That's got a bit of a twist, especially in the dry down, in the drier stages. This could be for you, this Oud Yuzu, right? This could definitely be for you. I don't know if it's for me necessarily, because I think I already have everything this scent has to offer. Well, not everything, because it's still a unique kind of combination. And it is quite beautiful. But I wouldn't call it, you know, terribly original or terribly inspiring. So from me, this Oud Yuzu gets, you know, it's a very good scent, but rather meh. It's, you know, it's a good scent, and let's leave it at that. You have to realize that we're talking about an Aqua Allegoria, even though it is a Forte version. And about that, it is truly Forte. I mean, all of them, all three of them are very long-lasting and quite projecting, which is very nice. Aqua, as I said this before, Aqua Allegoria, the whole line just became, especially the newer launches, just became a lot more potent, which again is a good thing. And let's get to Rosa Palissandro. Now, Palissandro is the same thing. I don't know if it's the same thing perfume-wise, but Palissandro is the same thing as rosewood, and I hope I'm not mistaken. So the smell has something in common, well, the rosewood, something in common with Santal Paurosa. And the thing that they have in common is the dryness, well, I don't want to say the woodiness, but the sort of dry, almost sour type of wood, which is very, very nice. And I was not expecting to like Rosa Palissandro this much, but this is a gorgeous, gorgeous scent. This, I think, is a much more interesting scent to me, because it's a very, well, I don't want to say, it's not that different. It's still a rose. It's not that, you know, mind-blowing. It's not this unique take on rose, but it's very, very beautiful. I like it a lot because it reminds me quite a bit of, I think it's my favorite rose from Guerlain, which is Rose Nacree du Desert, which is long gone. It was a fragrance from Le Désert d'Orient. It does have that cold, icy almost rose smell, which is very, very nice. It's almost a minty scent. And that, you know, this rosewood, this Palissandro, really adds a lot of spiciness and a lot of dry distinguishment. I don't know if that's a word. It makes this rose very, very special indeed. And I like it quite a lot. It's one of the woodiest roses I've ever smelled. And again, it's very nice that these are Aqua Allegorias. These have to be, I mean, with the exception of Oud Yuzu, these are very complex for Aqua Allegorias, especially this Rosa Palissandro. And its weird simplicity, because it's, you know, it's maybe 2 notes, just like Oud Yuzu, it's rose and rosewood, but this fragrance has this depth to it, which is very welcome. I think we needed this, and it is very, very green and very refreshing. It's a very refreshing scent. So this is described as very woody, powdery, well, not necessarily, warm, spicy rose and balsamic, and definitely it is balsamic, it is that. So the notes are coriander, and there is a vegetal spicy note to this. Lemon, Damascus rose, rosewood, geranium, sandalwood, because I said it's that sour thing that kind of helps with everything, with the freshness, and patchouli. And this is why it reminded me of Rose Nacree du Desert, because that's a rose patchouli, but the way patchouli is done in Rose Nacree is very special to the people who remember or know the Rose Nacree du Desert. It was a very good scent. And Rosa Palissandro, I think takes a lot from Rose Nacree du Desert, and I think this is a very good thing. And now that I know about this coriander, I smell it quite a lot. I smell it quite a lot. It's quite vegetal, very interesting. It's very similar to the geranium, because it's slightly bitter, vegetal, but very fresh. And the impression of the fragrance is woody green, and the rose, in this stage at least, and the rose kind of gets into the background. So it's more about the rosewood than it is about the rose. But this is a stunning scent, and this is something I do see myself buying. I do like their roses quite a lot. Now the last fragrance is Bosca Vanilla. So Bosca Vanilla, the name, I had to search. I had no idea what Bosca meant. Had no idea what that was. And still am not clear. But it's supposed to be driftwood. But I don't know where the term Bosca, because, you know, bosque in Spanish means just the woods, right? But let me tell you, this Bosca Vanilla, I sprayed it on my hand in the perfume store. I smelled it and I said, oh God, it's just another vanilla, move on. But boy, was I wrong. And it's funny now because it's much clearer on this paper than it was on my skin at that time. but this is one of the most interesting vanillas I've ever smelled, both at Guerlain and in general. This is... So, first of all, the vanilla is very faint. It's not overt. It's not a gourmand. It's very woody, and it is very dry. But the most interesting thing about this vanilla is that it is marine and salty. This has to be, I know I am going to purchase this fragrance. I haven't found it yet. And by the time I smelled Bosca Vanilla in the fragrance store, I already placed my order to Place Vendôme. This is such a good scent. It is amazing. It is aquatic. No, it's not aquatic. It is marine, as I said. This reminds me of Bulgari Aqua Purom. The smell of woody algae, the salt, the spray, everything. It's there. And the fact that it's vanillic, you know, it's a weird juxtaposition. It's a weird combination, but the result is amazing. There is another marine vanilla out there. Oh, I mean, there might be many, but I don't know of them. So there is one that I know of, and that is Vanilla Vibes from Juliet Has a Gun. But that one, that's more vanilla with slight marine salty notes. It is a beautiful fragrance, but this one it's the other way around. It's marine first in the opening and then vanilla. Now as this dries, it doesn't lose anything from the marine quality or the salty quality, but it just becomes darker and woodier. Not more vanillic, which is very, very interesting. And this has amazing staying power. This lasts me on the skin. This lasts me for a day. And this is an Aqua Allegoria. They are eau de parfum. Yes, they are. The Forte versions are eau de parfums. But still, it's amazing. And it blew my mind. This fragrance has to be the best thing I've smelled in a long time. And I was about to purchase, because I'm nostalgic. I'm nostalgic for Bulgari Aqua Purom. I think I still have maybe 30 milliliters left in my bottle. But this will definitely be a lot more interesting for me to purchase, because it's a new fragrance at the same time, and it is so interesting and it is so salty. I just love it. It is, and this is an Aqua Allegoria. This has to be my favorite thing they ever came up with in this line. It is just this good. So this is why, I mean, by the time I understood Bosca Vanilla on my skin, I was still smelling Oud Yuzu, and it is so simple and uninspired when compared to Bosca Vanilla, which is, it's just so original and so good. And it is still a beautiful fragrance, Oud Yuzu. It's just not, it's not anything to write home about. It's still beautiful. I like the freshness of the yuzu, but you know. Rosa Palissandro is still beautiful. It's still a gorgeous scent. It's their typical rose with echoes from Rose Nacree, which is amazing. But this Bosca Vanilla, it smells like nothing I've ever smelled at Guerlain, while still being Guerlain. It is just, yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for my bottle as soon as I find it somewhere. Okay, so I hope this video maybe helped you get to know or understand better these 3 new fragrances from the Aqua Allegoria line. If you have any other questions, do let me know in the comments. And until next time, remember, fragrance creates memories, and may yours be happy.